You've been told it's normal to leak a little when you laugh, sneeze, or lift something heavy. You've been convinced it's just aging, just life, just something you have to live with. But what if I told you that's not true? What if I told you your pelvic muscles, the very core of your strength and control, could be trained to become stronger than ever, regardless of your age? If you've been quietly suffering from weakness, discomfort, or loss of control, then keep watching. Because this could be the most important message your body has been waiting for. This isn't just about exercise. This is about reclaiming your power. And with the right techniques, you can rebuild what time tried to take away. In today's video, we're going to show you the best exercises to unlock the full potential of your pelvic muscles. Get ready, because the truth about pelvic strength is far more exciting and far more empowering than you've ever been told. Most people get this wrong, and it makes their pelvic floor weaker, not stronger. Keep watching to avoid the mistakes that could be costing you your confidence and control. This video is part of our ongoing mission to bring you life-changing information for seniors and older adults. With senior health tips in mind, this guide is tailor-made for men and women who want to stay in control, strong, and independent long into their golden years. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another health-boosting update. Now let's dive into the world of pelvic power. You see, the pelvic muscles are like the unsung heroes of your core. Everyone talks about abs, about glutes, about back muscles. But the pelvic floor, it's often ignored until it fails. And when it fails, it doesn't whisper. It screams. It shows up as embarrassing leaks. It shows up as discomfort during movement. It even shows up as back pain and a weaker core. But what most people don't realize is that the pelvic muscles don't just support the bladder and bowel. They are intricately linked to posture, balance, sexual function, and even breathing mechanics. When you take control of your pelvic health, everything else begins to realign. You feel stronger, you stand taller, you move with more confidence, and perhaps most importantly, you remove one of the biggest silent threats to quality of life in aging adults: loss of continence and mobility. But here's where things get really interesting. Most people assume the only way to train the pelvic floor is with the old school method, the infamous Kegels. And while Kegels have their place, relying on them alone is like trying to strengthen your entire body with just bicep curls. It's incomplete. And worse, if done incorrectly, Kegels can actually tighten already overactive muscles, leading to more problems than they solve. So if you've tried Kegels and didn't see results, or if you're just starting out, what you're about to learn will open up a whole new level of training. Pelvic floor health isn't isolated. It connects to the hips, the glutes, the abdominals, the diaphragm. That's why the best exercises are those that treat the body as a system, not as separate parts. And when you train like this, the results are not just better, they're transformational. Before we get into the movement strategies, let's talk about awareness. The pelvic floor is a group of muscles that you can't see in the mirror. That makes it harder to train because you can't just look and adjust. But awareness starts with one simple act: connecting your breath to your body. Most people breathe too shallow, high in the chest. That kind of breathing doesn't help the pelvic floor. In fact, it shuts it down. Deep diaphragmatic breathing, on the other hand, activates a pressure system in your core that massages the pelvic floor from within. Imagine your diaphragm as the roof of your core, your pelvic floor as the foundation, and your deep abdominals as the walls. When you breathe deeply, all of these parts work together, creating a dynamic pump that tones the muscles without even needing to contract them forcefully. So here's your first real action. Start breathing. Sit in a chair, feet flat, spine long. Close your eyes and place one hand on your chest, the other on your belly. Breathe in through your nose and let your belly rise. As you do, feel the pressure drop down toward your pelvis. On the exhale, Gently imagine lifting your pelvic floor, not squeezing, not forcing, just a light, rising sensation. This is the foundation. This is where control begins. Now let's move deeper. One of the most underrated parts of pelvic floor health is the role of your glutes, your butt muscles. When the glutes are weak, the pelvis tips forward, the lower back arches, and the pelvic floor becomes overstretched and strained. But when the glutes are strong, the pelvis stabilizes, the spine aligns, and the pelvic floor gets the support it needs to function optimally. So every time you train your glutes, you're helping your pelvic floor. And every time you skip them, you're letting it down. The next step in your journey is to integrate functional movements that recruit your glutes while maintaining a pelvic floor connection. The key is slow, controlled movement, not speed. This isn't cardio. It's not about sweating buckets. It's about precision. One of the best ways to do this is with movements that mimic daily actions. Think about standing up from a chair. That's a squat. But instead of rushing through it, try this. From a seated position, engage your core gently, inhale deeply, and as you exhale, press through your heels and rise to standing while imagining the pelvic floor lifting in harmony with the motion. Then sit down with the same control. No flopping, no collapsing. Just steady, aware movement. This kind of exercise builds functional strength. You'll not only improve pelvic health, you'll also improve mobility, balance, and confidence in daily activities. And here's another bonus. This type of training reduces fall risk, which is one of the biggest threats to senior independence. Yes, strong pelvic muscles can actually help keep you on your feet. Another often overlooked area? The inner thighs. These muscles connect closely to the pelvic floor, and when they're underused, the pelvic floor gets less support. But when you engage the adductors, the muscles of the inner thigh, you automatically bring in pelvic floor co-activation. It's all connected. A simple technique? Use a small pillow between the knees while seated or lying down. Gently squeeze the pillow as you breathe and connect to your pelvic floor. No rushing, no straining, just calm, mindful engagement. We're just getting started. In the next part, we'll go even deeper into how posture, balance, and even walking technique can either build or break down your pelvic strength. And we'll introduce movement combinations that not only activate the pelvic floor, but train it to work in sync with the rest of your body, just like it was designed to do. We've established that your pelvic muscles don't exist in isolation. They're part of an integrated system involving your breath, glutes, core, and even your thighs. But here's something you may not know. The way you stand and walk every single day can either reinforce your pelvic health or quietly chip away at it. Let's start with posture. When you slump forward or tilt your pelvis out of alignment, your pelvic floor becomes compromised. It's like trying to build a strong house on a crooked foundation. It just doesn't work. Most seniors aren't told how much posture affects their health, but it's one of the most powerful tools you have for restoring pelvic function. You don't need fancy gadgets. Just stand tall. Align your ears over your shoulders over your hips, and your hips over your ankles. This vertical stacking allows your muscles to engage properly. It tells your pelvic floor, we're back in business. Now let's talk about walking. Walking is often seen as just a way to get from point A to point B, but in reality, it's a full-body exercise, if you do it right. When you walk with purpose, engaging your glutes and using your core, your pelvic muscles participate in every step. So take notice of how you walk. Are your steps small and shuffling, or are you pushing off from your toes and engaging your hips? Are you leaning forward or standing tall? You can turn every walk into a pelvic strengthening opportunity by simply adding a layer of awareness. Tighten your lower abs gently as you move. Imagine a line lifting you upward from the crown of your head. And with each step, feel your glutes and thighs engage in a rhythm that brings your whole body into balance. This type of walking doesn't just strengthen, it restores. Another game changer is how you transition between positions. Every time you get out of bed, rise from a chair, or pick something off the ground, your pelvic floor is involved. If you rush, collapse, or strain during these moments, you're reinforcing poor mechanics. But if you move with control, activating your core and lifting gently from the pelvic floor, you're turning these simple actions into powerful exercises. Even getting down to the floor and back up can be transformative if done with intention. Floor work, often avoided by older adults, is one of the best ways to train the body holistically. The ground gives feedback. It shows you where your imbalances are. It challenges your coordination. And it allows for movements that activate deep stabilizers, the muscles that support your spine, hips, and pelvis from the inside out. So how do you bring all of this together? You create a routine, not of sets and reps, but of consistent mindful movement. You incorporate breathwork, posture correction, glute and inner thigh activation, and walking drills into your day. These aren't separate tasks, they're part of your lifestyle. They become the way you move through the world, not just exercises you do in the corner of a room. And here's where the science gets exciting. Research shows that people who incorporate functional pelvic floor training into their routines not only experience fewer bladder issues, but also report better balance, improved sleep, and increased confidence in daily life. The changes are subtle at first. A longer stride, less urgency when you need the bathroom, more stability when climbing stairs. But over time, these small shifts build into massive improvements in quality of life. You may even notice a change in your energy levels. That's because the pelvic floor is closely tied to your nervous system. When it's weak, it sends signals of instability and stress to your brain. But when it's strong and responsive, it sends signals of support and safety. You feel calmer, more grounded. Your brain can relax because your body is working as it should. And yes, pelvic health even affects your digestion. The muscles of the pelvic floor help support healthy bowel movements by coordinating with the diaphragm and abdominal wall. When you improve that coordination, you reduce constipation, bloating, and discomfort, issues that become more common with age, but are rarely traced back to the real root. Weak pelvic coordination. One of the most fascinating discoveries in modern pelvic health research is how the pelvic floor connects to the emotional body. Tension and trauma often settle in the pelvis. That means the very act of strengthening and releasing these muscles can have emotional benefits as well. People often report feeling more open, more relaxed, and more connected to themselves when they commit to this kind of training. You're not just improving your body, you're freeing it. And that's what this is all about, freedom. Freedom to laugh without worry, to run errands without fear, to move with strength and confidence. This isn't just fitness, this is your future, and it's worth fighting for. Remember, consistency is everything. You don't need to do high-intensity workouts. You don't need to spend hours a day training. What you need is awareness, intention, and a few key movements done regularly. Quality beats quantity, control beats speed, and awareness beats repetition. If you've been watching this far, it means you're ready to make a change, ready to strengthen not just your pelvic floor, but your entire life from the inside out. So take a moment right now to commit, not just to watching, but to doing. Try the breathing technique. Practice that controlled squat. Walk with awareness. These small acts, repeated daily, will change everything. And if you found this video helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications. We've got more life-changing senior health tips coming your way because your best years aren't behind you. They're still ahead, and they start with taking back control of your health, one muscle at a time. Now let's talk about something just as important as movement, recovery. You see, when we think about exercise, we often only think about the action, the squats, the breathing, the walking. But your pelvic muscles, like any muscles in the body, grow stronger not just from being used, but from being supported, rested, and allowed to reset. That's where recovery practices come in. One of the most effective yet underutilized recovery tools is pelvic floor relaxation. Yes, you heard that right. Relaxation is a form of training. If your pelvic muscles are always tense, always gripping, they never learn how to let go. And a muscle that can't release can't contract efficiently. That's why some people who do endless Kegels still experience problems, because their muscles are stuck in a chronic state of tension, not weakness. To counter this, incorporate daily moments of intentional release. Try lying down with your knees bent and feet flat on the floor. Place a small pillow under your knees to soften your hips. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply into your belly. And as you exhale, imagine the pelvic floor gently melting, releasing downward. This visualization technique, done for just a few minutes a day, helps train your nervous system to let go of unnecessary tension. You're not just relaxing, you're teaching your muscles how to reset and recover, which is essential for long-term strength and function. Another powerful component of pelvic health is hydration. Strange as it may sound, your pelvic floor muscles need adequate water to function at their best. Dehydration leads to muscle fatigue, and in the case of the pelvic floor, it can also lead to bladder irritation and urgency. Make it a habit to sip water throughout the day, rather than guzzling it all at once. Consistent hydration keeps the muscles supple, the tissues resilient, and the body working smoothly from the inside out. And let's not forget the role of nutrition. Just like you wouldn't expect a plant to grow without sunlight, you can't expect your muscles to strengthen without proper nourishment. Your pelvic floor is made of skeletal muscle, just like your biceps or calves. It needs protein, it needs magnesium, it needs B vitamins. Including lean protein, leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and whole foods in your daily meals can dramatically improve muscle recovery and performance, even for the pelvic floor. Now, if you're feeling inspired but still unsure where to start, here's a reminder. Simplicity wins. You don't need a gym, you don't need fancy equipment, you don't even need an hour a day. What you need is a commitment to doing a little bit consistently and with awareness. Your body will respond. You will feel stronger. You will feel more in control. And you will notice the difference not just in how you move, but in how you live. The power is already in you. You just have to awaken it. And remember, if this video helped you, even just a little, please like it, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to our channel. We're dedicated to bringing you the best senior health tips so you can thrive, not just survive, in your golden years. Click that bell for updates and stay connected, because every week we're bringing you new tools to live stronger, longer, and more confidently than ever before.